Hi, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yeah.
Okay,
Go ahead.
great. Um, yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity to to share some of the work that I and my team and collaborators and colleagues at Calico have been doing over the past few years using this amazing resource. I hope you're all having a wonderful day there, celebrating and hearing about the exciting research that's going on using this resource. And I'm sorry that I can't be with you in person. Uh, so just to start by saying a few words about Calico for those of you who aren't familiar with who we are and why this resource is so interesting to us. Calico is a research and drug development company with a mission to use the latest technologies and model systems to understand the biology of aging, and then to use that knowledge to develop interventions that will ultimately enable people to live longer and healthier lives. And over about the 12 years of Calico's existence, scientists have worked with a variety of model systems and have become increasingly interested in using humans themselves as a model for understanding human aging. And that's something that's really only been possible thanks to resources like the UK Biobank and the vision that was set out to create this data set that would help us to understand the very broad phenomenon of aging. And there's a couple of features of the UK Biobank dataset that make it particularly well suited to this purpose. It's sort of very large scale, kind of population scale with hundreds of thousands of participants with prospective health follow-up, which means that we're well powered to look at a really wide range of disease endpoints, which is really helpful for us studying a general phenomenon like aging. And it enables us to take an unbiased look at the health of multiple organ systems over time as the participants age. And in particular, what we're celebrating today, the non-invasive and comprehensive structural and functional measurements that come from the imaging study really give a window into the changes that happen prior to disease onset that we can ultimately target with interventions. So I'm just going to spend a few minutes highlighting some of the published work that we've done with our collaborators using particular aspects of the imaging data set to give you a flavor of the kind of things we've been working on over the past few years. So as you've heard in other talks earlier in the day, the revolution that's happened in the machine learning, computer vision, AI field over the past 10 years has really been a really nice complement to the data collection that's been done by UK Biobank and has really opened up new avenues of research. So one of the first areas that we started trying to apply this was to the abdominal scans, which we thought would give us a window into sort of cardiovascular, cardiometabolic disease, which is a really big cause of mortality and a big component of aging. So we set out to work with a fantastic team at the University of Westminster, beginning by annotating about 100 abdominal MRI scans. We've now annotated dozens of organs within these individuals. It's been like extremely detailed and time-consuming work by a wonderful team of radiologists. And then trained a deep learning model to essentially replicate this kind of work across the rest of the UK Biobank dataset, and then have continued to expand the number of traits and the number of participants over the years since this work was originally published, to now develop a library of more than 200 quantitative traits. And now, as of this past weeks, we're approaching the 100,000 scans for analysis. So this has created a really rich resource. So to just give a couple of examples from a few of these traits, back in 2021, we published the first study that just looked at 11 traits in about 30,000 participants. And again, thanks to the collection of really broad health outcomes data, it's very straightforward to look in a phenome-wide way at what different traits are predicted, what diseases are predicted by different traits. So this just gives a sort of high-level overview of the first 11 traits that we looked at and the organ-specific associations with particular diseases. You can do the same kind of thing with the genetic information. And again, we identified a bunch of novel loci looking at, again, the first 11 traits. And this is something that we've continued to expand as the sample size and the number of traits has grown. And then using these adiposity traits, we've worked with a fantastic team at the University of Lincoln, led by Hanya Yagudkar, to look at to characterize in more detail individuals with high BMI and their fat distribution, and demonstrate that this different individuals have different disease risk. Many with a higher BMI having increased risk of disease, but some sort of paradoxically showing that fat can be stored in a kind of safe place and may have lower risk of disease despite having a higher BMI, which has important implications for precision therapies. We've also had a couple of sort of more surprising and interesting findings. For example, we quantified iron in the spleen, which was a trait that we kind of looked at opportunistically. The genetic study there was, I don't have time to go into it right now, but it was pretty interesting, kind of geneticist's dream to highlight a few very specific loci with a very neat mechanistic link to this quantitative trait, which just shows how this resource can be used to uncover some quite sort of unexpected findings. We also have a recent study just about to come out that looked at the abdominal aorta in the MRI, which is a really nice complement to the cardiovascular specific traits, and again allows us to look at genetic risk factors that affect aortic structure at different anatomical landmarks. And we've done the same kind of work using the DEXA scan, also looking at the aorta, so similar study. Just want to end with two future directions that we think are extremely exciting for the coming years. I think this isn't the end of the UK Biobank study. Firstly, a machine learning team at Calico have got really interested in not just trying to replicate what a radiologist currently does with the images, but to try to use machine learning techniques to extract new features and then look across the entire phenome to discover new predictors of disease that can be used as biomarkers or to discover aging-related changes. And finally, I think we'll have an opportunity to hear a little bit later on in the day about the continuation of the imaging project to bring participants back for a second visit. And this is something that as an aging company, we're particularly excited about because it will allow us to answer some really fundamental questions about aging-related change in these imaging traits and try to disentangle what's really driven by aging or what's potentially sort of confounding to identify traits where decline is predictive of disease outcomes and to look at disease progression for clinical trials. So this is not the end of this study. It's something that it's going to continue to be a rich resource for years to come. So I'm going to end by thanking a fantastic team of collaborators at Calico and at other institutions who've really made working with this data set and the resource over the past few years enormous fun. And of course, to thank the UK Biobank and all the participants for their time and their contributions.
Thank you very much, Madeleine.